I'm a bit of a coffee snob.
Same.
Yeah. We have a store here called HEB. It's Herbert E. Butts. It's actually the guy's name, so I know I called it HEB because you don't want a store called Butts Grocery. But they have this coffee. It's Houston blend. I'm in Houston. Houston blend, and we buy it by the case. It's so good. Hey guys, I'm Matt with Volton Woodworking and your host of the Maker Lounge podcast, and I'm joined today in the lounge with Pete, Trey, and Rod. Thanks for hanging out with us in the lounge. And in this episode, we're going to be all woodworkers. We each have our own unique style and clientele. So we'll be talking a little bit about some CNC and some laser stuff. Whether you're listening to us in the car, in the shop, or at your job, our goal is to make you laugh a little and share ways we can bring our crafts together to build a better brand. This will be a two-part series with these guys, and so make sure that you save our podcast to your library so you can be notified when the next episode drops. But let's get into it. Without further ado, let's chat here with Pete, Trey, and Rod. I'm honored to have the three of you guys on here because each one of you has inspired me in my journey. Rod, I know that you and I connected early on with the Stepcraft. I saw one of your early on videos before I even bought the machine. And so connected with you. And then Trey, I connected with Trey, saw some of his early builds and stuff like that. And the way that he incorporates his family into what he does. And then Pete, Pete's like a mastermind. I'm always wondering what's in the guy's brain. And so Pete, you and we said that, I told you at one point, I think if you and I teamed up, we could like rule the world. Just if I could just be in your brain for a minute,
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. But your work's pretty amazing too.
It's really just in the
really
camera
awesome
angles.
Projects.
It's all in the camera angles. It's really not next level work. It's
I think it's the beard. I think it's definitely the beard.
The beard
We
helps.
were talking about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I can grow a beard. So that's something I've always been envious of.
every
me
once
too.
in a while.
This is about it.
Every once in a while, Trey will send me a message on Instagram, like a video message, and he's got this filter on it. It's got a beard on it with some sunglasses and like a metal grill. And I'm starting to think that Trey needs a beard. But too bad you grow it like a 12-year-old boy.
That's exactly right. It's all peach fuzz with a little bit of neck beard.
Yeah. Well, maybe Halloween's coming up. You can just grab one of those fake beards and.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beards in woodworking. There's a ton of beards in woodworking. I'm often quite jealous.
Yeah.
Every account I go to, I'm
It's
like,
almost a uniform now.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's wild.
It's a rite of passage, really. Yeah, my woodworking is subpar. It's the beard that makes people go, wow.
Yeah, because at Workbench Con I gave you all my beard butter or whatever came in that.
That's right. Yeah, that was hilarious. I was walking around Workbench Con, and one of the little things that they put in the package, because if you go, I don't know if you guys do these events or whatever, but you go to Workbench Con and they give you a little bag of goodies. There's different, small clamps and all that kind of stuff, and there was all these girls, and then guys like Trey who have peach fuzz, and one of the things that they put in there was beard oil. So everybody just walk up to me and just hand it to me. Like, no, they didn't even say anything. They would just hand me beard oil. So I think I got like 10 or 12 things of beard oil. Yeah.
How long did it take you to grow that beard?
I had it was short for a long time, and then I think just during COVID I was just like, I'm gonna let it grow out a little bit, and then my wife, now she's like, no, you're not gonna get rid of it.
It's trademarked.
Yeah, I mean, so it's trimmed back actually now. It was a lot longer and unmanageable, and now it's incredibly gray, and it just looks more gray on camera. So, people will totally judge me.
Is that a Shea Poco in the back, Rod?
Yeah, that's actually. Well, I have a story with the progression of my CNCs because it escalated quickly once I got into it.
Yeah, mine did as well, but I'm really curious because he said that he got in touch with you over the Stepcraft,
Yeah.
and then I just saw, or I noticed the Shapeoko there too.
That was the first gantry CNC that I had. I actually have my first CNC ever was a Shaper 3D, the handheld one. If you've ever seen those,
Yeah.
so I still have that. And then I went to the gantry because I realized that it was two different things. And then when we started getting into more production, I needed something with the auto tool changer. So the Stepcraft was it, and that was a game changer for me, just for the kind of things that we do.
Does that work pretty flawlessly, like the tool changing?
Right. Oh, right now it does. They've this is like the second generation. When I had gotten like one of the first M series when they came out, that was in July of 2000, and they had the tool changer they had for the original D series, and that worked. There were some issues with it. The biggest issue was you couldn't have a dust shoe, to use with it. And so I waited for that for almost a year. They came out with a new magazine, and now it works flawlessly. And there's no way I could go back. If I was looking at other machines, it's just for the kind of things that I do. Some of the projects I have are 5-6 tool changes, and we're doing batches of different things.
Rod and I had actually, when my intro to 3D printing was, I got a 3D printer so I could print a dust boot for my Stepcraft, because that dust boot that comes with it's got a 1-inch port. It screams at you. It's super loud.
It's a toy, yeah.
Yeah, it basically, those little hoses that you like whip around and they whistle at you. That's basically what it sounded like when you were using the dust boot. So I designed this little dust boot thing, and I was gonna 3D print them for everybody, and I dropped the ball on it, because of other commission work. And then all of a sudden, Rod comes out with a much improved version of it, with like acrylic and stuff too, right?
Yeah, it was acrylic, basically, because the original one was acrylic, and I just made one to use a larger hose, and it was a fun project.
Yeah,
I had some, and again, these are all things I had shown on my old feed, but I guess I'll have to revisit them at some point.
Time to repurpose them, start putting them back out.
Exactly, yeah.
But
You got plenty of content.
Yes, I would say exactly that, because obviously I didn't know you before in your old account or now, but I know I've seen your account now, and I didn't know any of this, so that's really cool.
Yeah. So Pete, you're a shaper guy. I mean, you have all kinds of different. I mean, now you have an Avid.
No, I started with the small 2-foot by 4-foot Avid CNC, just because I saw so many makers on YouTube use it, like the Marvel Machine X folks, which I totally idolized, and people like Frank Howarth and other folks. But I think that's the biggest thing that we're missing right now on that machine is a tool changer. Like, I'm so jealous when I heard that.
There is one, but you gotta build it yourself almost. You can get the spindle and everything, but it's one of those DIY type of builds. Avid was like on my short list before I ran into Eric over there at Stepcraft, and he convinced me to go with them.
I almost went Avid, but then I found the CNC for Newbie, if you guys have heard of that company. And then I got the 48 by 48 turnkey. So, but I almost went Avid, but again, it was like $3,000 cheaper for the same size. I just had to build it, but
yeah, the Avids, you definitely have to build yourself.
My original CNC was a small 12 by 14, I think, footprint. It was like the original. You've seen the Shark brand CNCs. So they were like original. And I had their smaller version, the Piranha. And I used it for about 2 weeks. And I got the little laser. It was a little 3-watt diode laser that was like $800 attachment. And I think I spent probably $3,000 on that stupid thing. And
but you learned, right?
Oh, I learned. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In fact, the video that I just I did a Throwback Thursday on it was like a bowl,
I saw
making
that.
a bowl. So the original design is that's what I used, is that smaller machine. So I just basically repurposed the file on the Stepcraft, and but yeah, the footprint. I like in 2 weeks I was like, okay, this is ridiculous, and then that laser took forever to do anything with. 3 watts.
That's what happened with me.
3 watt,
Yeah. Because
And,
with the Shipoko, they have the same kind of deal. You can put a laser on it, and I played with that for a while, and it was you couldn't even cut anything, but you could engrave fine, and so obviously that led me to a CO2 laser.
I started with the Shapeoko 3, the original, the 16 by 16, and then I went to the 3XXL, and then I jumped up to the 48 by 48. But I had also tried one of those Chinese lasers, like
That's
Matt
what I
was
have,
saying, and it took forever until I got the CO2. But yeah.
Oh, the diode lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what those Chinese lasers can do. Yeah.
Somebody asked me, should I get the laser attachment for the Stepcraft? Because they were thinking about getting Stepcraft. They're actually going a different route now, but they're like, should I get the laser attachment? I said, no, get a freestanding laser. Like, the little diode lasers, they're not. You are quickly gonna compare yourself against other people's lasers. Their content, and they're doing deep cuts and stuff with their lasers, and so. I strongly encourage anybody. I mean, even if you just went, what is the one, the X Tool or whatever? I don't think it's that expensive, right?
The new one, yeah.
I mean,
it's
even
fairly
that's
expensive
really
for a diode setup, but it's not bad, and it's supposed to be pretty good. Pete, do you have a laser of any sort?
No, I've been wanting to get one, but Steve over at Making It Home, I think he just got the one that Matt just mentioned. What's it called?
He did.
Yeah.
The X Tool or
X,
yeah.
I think it's X
Yeah.
Tool. Yeah.
He's been putting out a bunch of engraving videos on glass. Cool.
Yeah, the glasses were impressive, and like I said, I've tried, and I've never gotten those kind of results. Like it always.
Did you use the acrylic paint, or no? He used what kind of paint?
Tempered
did he use?
or something.
Yeah, tempera
Tempered paint or something. Yeah, there you go. That's what it was.
I think it's to block out the transparency.
It does.
Oh
what
yeah,
now?
the reflection.
I think it blocks
So,
out
yeah,
the transparency.
Yeah, because I know that like darker woods engrave a lot better than lighter woods. Like anytime I do like a maple cutting board, it's always subpar compared to a walnut. Walnut just like, man, gorgeous.
Well, I think walnut in general always shows best.
Yeah.
Well, have you tried the borax trick on any of it?
Yeah. So tell us about
So
that.
lighter woods. Lighter woods you can use borax. I don't remember the exact formula to it, but you basically take it on there. You just wet the entire fascia down, and then let it dry. What it does is instead of reflecting it on the lighter woods, it'll actually absorb the heat, and you'll get that darker burn or engraving on it. Because what happens with the lighter woods is it reflects it more, and it won't absorb it. And that's sort
Makes
of
sense.
yeah. And it really has worked a ton for me. I just did some, it was really interesting cedar signs, and I did that trick, and it was impressive of the difference it made with and without.
That's a great tip. Thanks, Trey.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see your laser content when you come out with it, Pete. I mean, like all these jigs that you make, to be able to personalize all that stuff just with with lasers and stuff like that. Oh my gosh! Now I see some stuff on
For
your
sure.
on your feed with that has laser stuff. Or do you have somebody else do that laser?
No, I haven't done any laser stuff. But they gave me a cutting board. My friend's Blue Pine Workshop. We had like a little maker meetup in the garage, and they brought over a cutting board. But the detail on that, like I'm not sure what laser they have, but really fine detail. It's almost like a number 2 pencil. Really accurate.
So that would have to be a CO2 at that point.
Right.
But I follow Chris over at A Glimpse Inside, and I've been watching a lot of what he's been doing with actually using a really high-powered laser to cut out some of his designs, and that seems like the way to go. Like being able to cut like a 1/4 inch plywood with the laser.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That dude's got a lot of
All
cool jigs
kinds of
too.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's running a really great business too.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to
He went like full steam ahead.
you know.
Quarter inch is still pretty thick to cut on a CO2 of a lower end until you get up to like the 130 watt. Now, you get up to like 130 watt, a quarter inch, yes, you can do it. But anything more than that, I'm going to tell you to stick it on the CNC. Just from my personal experience, I have an 80 watt CO2 and it does cut flawlessly with up to a quarter inch. But a half inch, it struggles. I'm not saying it won't do it, but it's not worth the effort that you could still get on the CNC.
Yeah, and it's not as clean. I have a 100 watt, and the thing is, with the way the laser cuts, it's going to taper your walls. Your walls aren't going to be straight if you cut that deep. The deeper you cut, so that's one thing to watch out for. But
Why is that? Why does it cut?
Because of the way lasers work, the beam is focused. So at the tightest or the finest detail is going to be at the focal point of the laser. So what happens is, as it's getting deeper and deeper, it's going to get to a point where it's going to, it's going in at a very slight angle, and you can use different lenses. Like I have like 3 different lenses to do different, different applications. But because it's not perfectly straight like a router bit, you will get a little bit of a taper. So we make these backgammon games that use triangles. We have to flip them upside down because there's a taper, and that actually works to our advantage, because we can use that as a kind of an inlay technique.
I was going to ask if you could use it to your advantage and actually do like a 45-degree bevel on certain things. Like, can you actually angle your laser to give you the bevel?
No, it's not a very significant angle, but there's still an angle. If you think it's going to be square, it's not. Yeah.
Think of it like a 30-degree V-bit.
That makes
Your
sense.
focal point is at the surface when you start to cut. That's going to be your strongest and tightest beam. So if you say a quarter inch, which granted it's not going to be off much, but your light reflection will be out a tad, and then think of a half inch, then it grows and so on. That's why, because there's no Z adjustment actually when you're cutting, unlike a CNC where it'll drop down and cut. This is just a solid beam of just power. I don't know how else to say it.
And one of the techniques you have to use when you're doing thick wood is unless you have an expensive machine, you can move the bed up and down. But one of the techniques you use is you move the bed, like say you have to do it in 2 passes. You move it up so that the focal point is somewhere in the middle or beyond it, so that it'll cut through. So you use tricks like that. But when you do that, then you start getting that, throwing that angle in there.
It's minor, but sometimes it can mean a big deal. It just, like simple signs, if you're doing overlay signs, it's no problem at all. But again, like you said on your game, if you're trying to do different things and actually get them to fit, it could be an issue.
And where you can see it the most is we tried to, because it's fast. I mean, once you use a laser, because it's so fast and it's, there's a lot less setup time, you just put your workpiece on the bed, you cut it, and you're done. I wanted to try to use it for cutting acrylic, because there's some things we make out of acrylic, and for up to a quarter inch is fine. But you try to do you try to do anything thicker, and you'll definitely see the angle in there. And
I have a 40 watt.
That's the other nice thing about it. Yeah,
I have a 40 watt, and it struggles to get through quarter inch in a single pass. So it just takes, for me, I mean, if you've got an 80 watt, imagine it taking twice or even more longer just to get something cut on. And so I'm like ready to upgrade, and get a higher power machine. So yeah, I would say if you're thinking of getting a 40 watt, get an 80 watt. If you're thinking about getting an 80 watt, get a 130 watt.
Well, that goes for any tool.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Get what you can afford at the time, right?
Buy as big as you can, like a safe. You buy as big as you can, or you can fit in your room, and just call it a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what a good wattage is for cutting like thin metals?
You can't really cut metal with a CO2.
Plasma.
You have to use a fiber laser if you're good. Yeah, or a plasma cutter. But a fiber laser is what's just because of the frequency of CO2 laser. It's not designed to cut metal. So you can engrave, and even with engraving, you have to use a special spray to, I think it's called Cermark. You spray it, and then it'll kind of burn or etch the design. But you can't really cut metal, unfortunately.
So I just recently got a fiber laser. I say recently, I've had it for about 3 months now. It's a 50 watt, and so it has a 12 by 12 bed, which doesn't sound like much, but most of the things that you will cut on it will all fit within a 12 by 12. I think the size thing to our minds affect us in different ways, but a 12 by 12 is still pretty big. So I do a lot of tumblers, custom cups and stuff like that on there. I don't do a lot of cutting, but you can cut thin aluminum and stuff pretty easily. It just comes down to what you want. So I just did a bunch of fishing baits for a guy out of 60 61 aluminum, I think. I could be wrong on the number on that. And took 2 passes on a hatch, and it engraved flawless. Like, it's pretty impressive. Even at a 50 watt, I mean, now they make 100 watts, the JTP or JPTs. It's pretty amazing what's out there.
I just started looking at the Laguna website for fiber lasers, and it looks like they have some amazing products, but like one of them's $88,000, another one's $100,000.
Oh, yeah.
So the 50 watt fiber laser, I've got the 50 watt fiber laser with a rotary, which is a chuck rotary for it, and I have about 5,500 in it, which sounds a bunch, and I'm not taking away from it, but right now I have a like $2,200 order for cups, just cups. Wow. And a cup will only take me about 6 minutes. So like you think the turnover there, and I can just keep them rolling. So there's a lot of money to be made, and there's nobody around me local, so I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in, but do a quick search on Marketplace and see if anybody's selling laser engraved cups, and then just go from there. But it's impressive of the speed that it'll do on metals.
Are you posting on Marketplace? Is that how you're getting jobs? Like, how do people find you? Like, even for the fishing lures or whatever, how does that come about? Because that's not something you've done before.
Yeah. So the cups, it's really interesting. The cup deal started off with one local company that I kind of reached out to and said, "Hey, I'm offering this now." And I did that with a few companies that I knew, somebody that at least worked there. Say, "Hey, if I can help you." But what I would do is every single cup, I stuck a business card in, every single one. Because I knew these cups are going to be given away to other people either in the company or out of the company or just around our local town. And from those, I've picked up, like I said, this one $2,200 order came from a single business card in a cup from that company to another company. And that has, now this company, I have 122 business cards going out to who knows who in the community or further. So that'll be pretty big. Hopefully it'll just keep rolling from there, and that's alone has kept me busy.
So how is your competition in your area as far as other people who do what you do?
Not very hard. There's nobody around that does any of the laser tumblers, at least not posted or listed anywhere that I know of. Now that we have some sign people and some stuff like that, but that's not really the market I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for the tumblers because that's a quick turnaround and very, I shouldn't say easy money, but it's good money with not a whole lot of work. It's just time. So you think we don't want to go out and run the CNC a lot because we don't want to get dirty this night or whatnot. Well, the fiber laser is not dirty, if that makes sense. Like, you don't have to change, you don't have to prep yourself, you don't have to wear a respirator.
There's no sawdust, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's a very clean setup. I mean, granted, it's still in my garage with everything else, but if I wanted to move it to my basement and vent it outside, I sure could. It's very easy work.
Is it the same venting like a CO2?
Yeah, so I use actually the same, I have an AC Infinity 8-inch fan, and I pull everything out from that.
I want to do something. I want to try it out. Right, this is the first podcast, so this could flop. We'll see how it goes. I want to do something. It's a little bit of a game. It's going to be called Yes or No. Okay. So the rule is it's real simple. You just have to say yes or no, and maybe we'll see kind of at the end. We'll just kind of do it and see how it goes, and maybe we'll edit it out if it doesn't work. But all right, so yes or no, and we'll give you one hard pass. Okay, so if you want to say like hard pass.
Oof.
Okay.
Okay.
You have no idea what's coming at you. All right.
No, I'm scared as can be.
So let's do it like this. We'll go Trey, Rod, Pete. Okay. Trey, Rod, Pete. We'll just go around like that. All right. So I'm going to grab these out of the imaginary fishbowl, and so we'll see what happens. Okay. So they're either going to be a statement or just a little phrase, and you just say yes or no or hard pass, and you only can say hard pass once. Chamfer is better than roundover. Trey.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. These are the warm-up ones.
I voted yes on roundovers for one reason, because a lot of stuff I do is children's furniture. So I need those rounded, handles and stuff like that. So that's why I say roundover better than chamfer, because 90% of the stuff I do all has a roundover.
I have put away the sprayer without cleaning it.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Wow. Okay. All right. Instagram Reels.
Yes.
Yes, I'm hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I do.
All right. What's interesting is 6 months ago we would all probably had a different answer to that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me skip down here. Okay. Painted walnut.
No.
Absolutely not.
All right. Good. All right. We can continue. All right. We got a couple
That
more.
also applies to stained walnut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Never.
Show the knot. Flathead screws.
No.
No.
So that's the opposite of Phillips, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The single,
Yeah.
the single slotted.
That's
screw?
how often you use them.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't use those.
The only place you see those are on outlets, right? That's
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And they annoy
wall
the heck
outlets.
out of
That's
you.
it.
So
Yeah,
those things
yeah.
are impossible.
For me, license plate bolts too. I see them a lot
there
on
you go.
those.
There you go.
Yeah.
TikTok voiceovers.
No.
I don't know what that is.
Good.
Yeah, what do you mean? Do you mean like you're commenting on somebody else's post, or?
No, it's like these things where somebody else is talking and then you're like doing a Milli Vanilli over it.
Oh,
You know who
no.
Milli Vanilli is.
So you're mouthing the vocals to somebody else's stuff, and it just it becomes kind of a train wreck.
Nobody wants to
sometimes.
see those. Okay, we need to stop that trend.
Trends
Okay.
in general, man. I can't even watch TikTok. There's so many trends. Every time I hear the same audio, I just swipe as fast as I can.
I know.
God,
Yeah.
sorry.
I have a hate relationship with TikTok, but it's kind of feels like one of those necessary evils. Pocket holes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What about you, Matt? You haven't answered any of these.
Yeah, I should probably play, huh? I should probably. Okay, let's go back and do it. No, I'm just kidding. So pocket holes, yes, is a yes for me. Overpriced a project because you didn't like the client.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't have clients. Not yet.
Good for you.
Keep fighting the good fight, Pete. I'm a yes.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yes. I've actually gotten the job. So I overpriced it, and I still got the job. Yeah. Oh,
Did it make up for it?
no. I have a thing called a PETA charge, and it happened after I gave somebody an estimate, and I could just tell that they were going to be difficult. I gave them the estimate, and they're like, "Okay, cool, yeah, we want to go with it, but do you offer a military discount?" What am I going to say to that? So I'm like, yeah, I guess I can do a military discount. I'll knock 10% off or something. I was like, it's going to come out of my labor, try to like put that out there. And like, okay, great, thanks. So I got the job and I hated it. It was just miserable. They loved the product at the end, but it was just like one of those things like nothing went right during the whole job. And so after that job, if I get the wrong impression from somebody, I put in a PITA charge. PITA. It sounds for pain in the. So yeah. Okay, we're gonna go with one more question, and really the points don't matter anyway, so nobody's winning. Had to sand an entire project down after painting or priming it or finishing it because you forgot to sand first?
No.
Not for that reason, no.
No.
Yes.
Is that a yes from Matt?
So we know where these are coming from.
Yes. So you guys are not my people. That's fine. That's fine. You guys are better than me. Cut something twice and it was still too short. I'm just
Yes.
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 Yes?
Absolutely yes.
Oh gosh!
Yes.
All right, you are my people. You're welcome back into the community. You can come back to the lounge anytime. Hey, thanks so much for listening, you guys. You can find Pete on Instagram at PeteSquared23. Trey is at Handcrafted by Trey. Rod is at The Mountain Makers, and I am at Voltner Woodworking, all on Instagram. All of our links will be posted in the show notes. Come back next week and hear the four of us talk about working with brands and social media. We'll also hear about Pete's Lego sorter. Rod also shared what happened to his previous account and why he had to start over. And Trey talks about how he incorporates his family into his builds. It's going to be another great show, so make sure that you are following along and that you have saved our episodes into your podcast player. And make sure that you're sharing. And you can find our show on Instagram as well as Facebook. And that is going to be at Maker Lounge Podcast. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.